Sassy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to a craft organization video hosted by Ginger's Corner. You can find her URL or her Facebook link to her group down below. Today I am organizing stencils, and I filmed this video a little bit ago, but never got it voiced, so here I am voicing it about a month later. These are all of the stencils that I used in the month of August, and yeah, they've just been piling up to the side rather than putting them away. So I'm actually going to put them away. I'm going to do a little bit of organization because a couple of these did not actually have a space in my binders. And so you're going to see how I organize my stencils. I actually have multiple binders of stencils because, well, first of all, I have a lot. I seem to like to collect them. And then I have them for different sizes. So I have an actual 12 by 12 album. It is a D-ring album. It's this is it right here. And I have some 8.5 by 11 page protectors at the front, and then I have 12 by 12 and at the back. And what I do is I cut the packaging off of the top of the stencil so I know what company it came from and what stencil number it is or the barcode on it or whatever. It's because a lot of times I get asked in videos what stencil it is or where I got it. So for most people, you probably don't have to do that, but if you are someone who shares your work all the time and people ask you a lot, this is a great way to do it, or you could just simply write it down. But having that strip at the top, it's just a quick visual for me to go, oh yeah, it's Stamperia or wherever it happens to be from. These few here do happen to be from Stamperia. Um, and I tend to keep these ones together because they are all a little bit on the larger size, even though these ones that I'm putting away right now probably could fit in a 6 by 8. They would probably stick out a lot at the top. Um, I just keep them all in this 12 by 12 binder because those few that I already put away are closer to an 8.5 by 11 or, well, slightly smaller than 8.5 by 11, but they don't fit in a 6 by 8 folder. So the page protectors I have in here are nothing special. They're just, I think, from my local office supply store. And then my 12 by 12 ones, I tend to use any of the ones that come out of albums that are not the We Are Memory Keepers brand. The We Are Memory Keepers brand I try to reserve for my regular albums, although there might be a few in here. So if there's any weird off brands, I'll stick them in here and it'll be just fine. It's not a problem. And so what I'm doing here is I am just using my blending brush, whatever ink happens to be on it, and I am rubbing it on to the white paper that I put behind my stencils because that's going to be a quick visual instead of trying to read the name and remember what stencil it goes with. It's a quick visual for me to go, oh, this is the one that's missing, or this is the where it goes, and I can put it away a lot quicker than having to read through all of the names because the visual is there. Also, there was a period of time that I was hosting a lot of scrapbooking at my mom's house in her large scrapbooking area. And if I was loaning them out or if I go to retreats or whatever, it's really easy for people to see exactly where they go back because they can see the image or at least a portion of the image that the stencil represents or that is represented by rubbing through the stencil. Hopefully that made sense. These Ciao Bella ones, I'm not going to go ahead and do those ones up at this time. I have not used those ones yet, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to keep them. So I decided not to open them. I just stuck them in here just to kind of see if they come in handy or if I'm ready to put them on a give take table or gift them to somebody or something like that. Most of the ones in this album are from Sandy over at Scrapping Reflections. That's what all of these ones here are. And I'm just getting them put back into their spots. I've used quite a few of them throughout the month. I also have my Heidi swaps in here, my 12 by 12 Heidi swaps that are all green. And then any of the 12 by 12 crafters workshops are in here. And then I have some oddball ones in the back here that were from the ones with the bears on them that are from, let's see, Amazon. And then the circle one that you saw there at the very end was from MK. I think it was I want to say a Dusty Attic one. This one is this is a Star Wars stencil. It's actually one that my husband did as a test in his 3D printer to see if it actually would work. So I haven't used it, it's just in there. And then I have these 6x8 pockets. These are actually, I believe, stamp storage for Tim Holtz, and they fit in these binders that are from Hobby Lobby. They are stamp binders from Hobby Lobby, and the packets or the pouches that come in the stamp binder, they are in the back of the stamp binder here. But over time, I've had this particular binder for quite some time. The There's nothing been in those stamp pockets, and so when you try to open them, they kind of stick together and they make an awful noise. So I'm probably just going to get rid of them. They're not super sturdy, and I don't think they're that great of quality, to be honest with you. But I do like the binder because it's black. I like everything in my room to be organized and tidy. I like a black and white cohesive kind of look. I don't mind some color here and there, but I know there's a lot of people out there that love like a rainbow of color in their room. But for me, it's overwhelming. And I prefer to have my stuff stored in bins where I can't see it, but I like a label on it so I can read it and know where it's at and find it easily. And so that works really well with these binders because they're just black, and they fit on my shelf. Do they take up a lot of room? Yeah, they take up more room than I probably need. I could probably find something a little bit smaller that's a little more compact, but I'm okay with this for now. I have one binder like this as I'm filming this, and then I have two that are just in jump rings with, or those binder rings, I guess they're called jump rings, with chipboard on either side of them. And before, within the month that this sat in on my camera roll before I voiced it, I did purchase two more of these black binders and I moved everything out of the kind of homemade binder system and into these black binders because I've gotten so many that it's been kind of a need. Uh, the chipboard that I've had on either side of all of the stencils have been there for many years and they're kind of beat up and I don't know, dingy and whatever else. So I thought it was time to kind of get everything organized and on my shelf and looking a little nicer. I would really love to do a room tour for you guys. I just haven't gotten the time, and um, everything's kind of been in a little bit of a disarray as I've kind of been moving things around and whatnot. And so hopefully I'll be able to get that out to you guys before the end of the year. I'm hoping, but it might be at the beginning of next year. But anyway, you can see all of my all of my envelopes here. I haven't gone through and done the little rubbing of of the ink through all of them, but I do try to do it when I get a new one and when I use a new one and when I put it away. But it hasn't happened for all of them. So as I'm putting them away, I am trying to remember to do that. Some of these, like I said, were new and didn't have a spot. Some of these are a little bit too tall, like that Ciao Bella one. I think it's Ciao Bella. Anyway, it's a little bit too big for this binder, but that's okay. I don't mind. I could put it in with the other larger ones, but I'm trying to save the larger space, the 12 by 12 binder for 12 by 12s, because eventually I'm going to run out of space over there. And I don't mind if they stick out a little bit at the top here. They're not really sticking out too much further than the top of the actual binder itself. But I am trimming down all of the tops of, or the portions of the packaging where it actually tells me the name of the stencil or the item number so that I could find it easily for anybody who might ask. So that's what I'm doing here, just doing that again. And I end up putting just a piece of scrap paper in between. It could be, this is actually a little thicker than printer paper. It was a ream of paper I bought for an event, and we did a bunch of flyers for it, and I had a whole bunch left over. So that's what the paper is that's in there. It's just cut down to be 6x8 and fit inside the pocket. And then I use it back to back, which maybe I should put two pieces of paper in there. It would allow me a little bit of flexibility to move things around as I add stencils here, but I didn't do that. So if I want to move things around, I have to kind of peel off the packaging and create a whole new sheet to kind of move it around. And it hasn't really been super important for me to do that. So yeah, they're just in here. They are, however, put in kind of somewhat by brand. You can see this is one of my chipboard ones. I've got one that has all of my Crafters Workshop 6x6. It's also got my Echo Parks Simple Stories, like the bigger branded named ones. And then this particular one has kind of like the smaller, well, Tim Holtz is not a smaller, but I don't have very many Tim Holtz ones. So it's in here. It's kind of like my one-off ones that I don't have a lot from a lot of different brands. And they go in here. And then I have another one that has uh, all of the ones from MK, All in Create, Dusty Attic, which is usually the one I reach for first, unless I know I'm going for one that's like really specific and I know exactly kind of what I'm going for. Like my fish one I use all the time, or snowflakes, those are all like Echo Park branded ones, so they are in that binder with those. Now, should I organize them by theme? Maybe. That might be a little easier. Put all my mixed media ones together and all that kind of stuff. Like mixed media, I mean like the ones that have like the distressed look, or they're just little splotches here and there, or something like that, versus a true pattern, I guess, is maybe the best way to call it. But I'm not really sure. This seems to be working for me at the moment. We'll see how long it works for me. Um, I might at some point move them around. When I travel, I do just pull out the entire pouch, or if I don't pull out the pouch, I will take the stencil out and stick it in a binder that has page protectors in it where my paper goes and the embellishments that I choose to for each particular layout, because I kind of kit up as page kits into a totally Tiffany binder that has page protectors that has multiple little spots for things, like it's got 6-inch openings to put your thickers in, and it's got a 12-inch opening for your papers, and then it's got some smaller openings for random other things like 3x4 cards and whatever else. So I kit up into that when I go to a retreat, so I don't have to take everything with me. And sometimes I'll just take my stencil out and I'll stick it in that page protector that's going to be going with my page kit. But other times, if I am not really sure and I have maybe 4 or 5 that I want to bring extra just in case, I'll just take the whole little pouch with me and stick it in with my mixed media stuff as kind of like a backup. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Maybe it doesn't, but uh, it gives me a little bit of freedom and flexibility. So this is my one that has all of the Crafters Workshops. You can see I'm just flipping through here trying to put away a couple of the Crafters Workshop branded ones. And then some of those other ones up at the top there are more Crafters Workshop. I believe the one with the geotags might be either, I don't know if it's Echo Park or if it's Simple Stories, but yeah, just some. Oh, yep, it's a Simple Stories. So you can see how easy it is for me to find where it goes. I don't have to read labels because I've done that little brush of the imprint of what is missing. And so that kind of helps me out quite a bit. And yes, I have a lot of stencils. I might have a problem with a collection of stencils, but they make me happy. They don't take up a ton of room. It gives me a lot of flexibility. And it gives me options when I'm creating, right? So there's nothing worse than going, oh, I got rid of that one that I could have used for this particular layout. And these are, yes, at the end of the day, they are consumables because they're only good for as, I don't know, how many times you can use them. But I do know that eventually they do wear out or they break or whatever. But they last a long time. And so I'd rather build up my stash that way and use them and not get rid of them. So here I am just adding more and getting rid of the chipboard binders. It does take up a little bit more space on my shelf, but not by a whole lot. And I'm a lot happier with how they look. It's much easier to grab. And then I am going to take out my P-Touch labeler and I'm going to put the main brands that are on or in each one of these binders on the spine. And that's going to help me as well, because once I know a couple of the brands that are in there, I pretty much know what's in each of these because I flip through them often enough looking for things and kind of like perusing and figuring out which one I want to use for what layout. So that's going to help me out quite a bit to narrow down, oh, yeah, these are with my Simple Stories, and find them. That's it, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this one. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. I'll be back again soon with another video, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.